Hey everyone, welcome back. Today we are diving into a crucial topic for every software engineer and architect: scalability in system design and distributed systems. If you have ever wondered how big tech companies handle millions or even billions of requests per day, this video is for you. Okay, first let's define what is scalability. Scalability refers to a system's ability to handle increased load, whether that's more users, more data, or more requests, without compromising performance. In simpler term, if your app becomes popular overnight, can it keep up with all the new traffic? Scalability is not just about adding more servers, it's about designing a system that can efficiently grow while maintaining reliability and reasonable response times. Okay, when it comes to scalability in system designs, we have two main ways or two main things, two main type of scalability. The vertical one, which we call vertical scalability, and we have horizontal scalability. Horizontal. Okay, the vertical scalability, it's increased the capacity of a single machine. The horizontal scalability, we add more machines to the environment. Okay, let's first start talking about vertical scalability. So let's assume that we have a client and this client sends requests to the server. Okay, and let's assume that our server can handle one client. And let's say that our application went too popular, so we have more clients coming and wants to send this request to our server, but our server only can handle one. So what we should do, we can go with vertical scalability, which is basically upgrading your server hardware. Like we can add more CPU, more RAM, or faster storage. It is straightforward, but has a limit. You can only scale up so much before you hit physical or cost constraints, because there is a physical limit for vertical scalability. On the other hand, horizontal scalability means adding more machines, like tuning one server into a cluster. So instead of have one server, we have like server 2, and we could have here server 3, and they could handle the requests of these clients. This approach is often favored in distributed systems because it allows near unlimited scaling, but it also introduces new complexities like data consistencies and load balancing. How to balance the load among all the servers. Also, we eliminate a single point of failure, because if you have one, oh no, if we have one server that went down, the other two servers can serve, or we can add more machines. Like no problem whatsoever. It's not a big deal at all. Okay. Next, we need to talk about key principles of scalability. And we start with one, which will be load balancing. I created a video, like 4 videos that talks about load balancing. Load balancing helps distribute incoming requests across multiple servers. So when we have multiple clients try to send the requests, and we have multiple servers, S1 and S2, for example, we will have like a load balancer that will distribute all the incoming requests among the servers. So we'll make sure that there is no server is overwhelmed with requests, and there is no other servers that is like underutilized. Number two, we have caching. Caching frequently accessed data. Basically, we store like caching is in-memory storage or in-memory caches or content delivery networks as well. It's a huge performance and a booster reducing the load. So if we have here the client and the client went to ask a server to example like let's assume that we have like an e-commerce and the client will ask a server to, for example, just give me the product X. I want to read this one, and the server will fetch this product from the database. This is a DB, and it will send it back, and the server will send it back. Let's assume the client want to read the same product again. So instead of doing all of that, we will have a cache, and the cache is in memory storage. We will make the process way more faster. So it will happen like that. We will have a cache system, like Redis or something, that will cache the frequently accessed data. For example, here we have the data X, and it will return it directly to the user, which will be way more faster. So instead of asking the database over and over for the same thing, it will return it directly. And this will improve the performance, reduce the latency, and make our application way more scalable. Also, it will reduce the load on the database. Next, we have sharding. Splitting data across multiple databases or servers, so you don't have to store everything in one place. This helps manage large data sets and distribute the load. So if we have our server and our server store the data in our database, and we have one single server that store everything, uh, and we're storing a lot of data, we might go to some sort of physical limits. So we can have a shard. So we can have like multiple shards, like it's like a shard. Let's call it DB1 and DB2, and these shards will store fractions of the data. So we make sure that we handle all the data across distributed systems. And also another thing that we will talk about, which will be the stateless nature or stateless services. Basically, designing your services to be stateless make it easier to add or remove instances and fly as no single instance holds critical sessions. I maybe this is not understandable from what I'm saying. I will create a specific video that talks about stateless services, and also I will create a video that talks about asynchronous processing and message queues as well, so we can understand them in more details. Um, we can talk about some real world examples, like for example, like companies like Netflix uses microservices architecture and distribute systems on the cloud, leveraging AWS autoscaling groups, for example, to handle traffic spikes. Think and use season release, for example. Amazon also uses services-oriented approaches to handle billions of transactions. They partition and replicate data across multiple regions, so customers get faster response from geographically closed servers. These real-world examples show that scalability is all about preparation, strategy, and efficient resource usage. There are some challenges that comes with like distributed systems or horizontal scaling, which is first, of course, we have what we call cap theorem. Of course, scaling doesn't come without trade-offs. The cap theorem reminds us that in distributed system, you can't have a perfect consistency, availability, and partition tolerance at all at once. You have to make decisions based on your app's priorities and user expectations. Additionally, maintaining a large distributed system adds operational complexity like network issues, potential data duplication, or versioning problem. I will create video that talks about all of these things in details. But for now, for now we're just talking about the things on a high level. So I guess pa 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 pa. Yeah, I guess that's it for this video. So we can make like a wrap up. Scalability is more than just a buzzword. It's a fundamental design principle that ensure your system can handle success or at least a surge of new users by combining load balancing, caching, partitioning, and careful architectural decisions. You can build system that gracefully scale as your user base grows. Yeah. Let me know in the comment section below if you have any questions on specific scalability architecture. If you'd like a deeper dive into any topic we have covered today. That's it for this video, and see you in the future.